Welcome to Canadian Football League Weekly, presented by the World of Football. Each week, we recap the games played up north in the CFL, and we also look ahead to next week's games. Our mission here is to educate American football fans on the teams and players in the CFL, in the hopes that they'll come to love the league as much as we do. I'm Randy Snow, and I'm joined by my son, Adam.
Hey, how you doing? CFL football is incredible for those of you out there who have never watched it. For those of you who have, welcome to the show, everybody. How's everybody doing?
Yeah, it's getting down to crunch time. We've had a lot of things happen this past weekend, so let's get right into the games from Week 18. On Friday night, it was the Winnipeg Blue Bombers at the Hamilton Tiger Cats. In the first quarter, Winnipeg quarterback Zach Collaros threw a touchdown pass to rookie wide receiver Kevin Clercius for his first ever CFL touchdown. Hamilton responded with a touchdown run by James Butler, which tied the score at 7-7. In the second quarter, Winnipeg rookie backup quarterback Terry Wilson scored his first CFL touchdown on a 1-yard run, making the score 17-7 in favor of the Blue Bombers. In the third quarter, Brady Oliveira scored on a short touchdown run, increasing the Winnipeg lead to 24-10. And in the fourth quarter, Terry Wilson scored his second touchdown of the night on another 1-yard touchdown run as Winnipeg wins their 8th straight game, 31-10. Winnipeg quarterback Zach Collaros completed 13 of 19 passes for 201 yards and a touchdown. Backup quarterback Terry Wilson ran the ball 6 times for 15 yards and 2 touchdowns. Running back Brady Oliveira ran the ball 24 times for 147 yards and a touchdown. And wide receiver Kenny Lawler led the receivers with 3 catches for 78 yards. For Hamilton, quarterback Bo Levi Mitchell completed 15 of 28 passes for 217 yards, no touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Running back James Butler ran the ball 7 times for 24 yards and a touchdown. And wide receiver Brendan O'Leary Orange led the receivers with 2 catches for 86 yards. Yeah, Hamilton came into this game on a 4-game winning streak, but yeah, it looks like their playoff chances are pretty slim, but they're not out of the woods yet.
Now, we'll get more into the playoff discussion and all the implications a little later on. But yeah, Hamilton, still hanging on by a thread. But Winnipeg, a team, they've controlled their own destiny, and now they get to host a playoff game at the least.
Yep.
Still have yet to clinch the division, but, they will at least host a playoff game. Good for them. 8 straight wins. Incredible, the run they've been on this year. They're the hottest team right now in the CFL. I wouldn't want to be playing them. Even if I was Montreal, I don't think I'd want to be playing Winnipeg right now. But, hey, good for them. They've got a program over there that has been absolutely stellar the last several years. Faltered just slightly at the beginning of this year, but they found level, and they're a scary team.
Yeah, this is the team we expected at the beginning of the season. It took them a while to get here, but in these last 8 games, they've showed that, it looks like they're going to be a force to be reckoned with in the playoffs.
For sure. Also on Friday night, saw the Calgary Stampeders take on the BC Lions. In the second quarter, Calgary quarterback Jake Maier threw a touchdown pass to Ishmael Hyman, and the Stampeders took a 7-3 lead. In the fourth quarter, Maier threw a short screen pass that was intercepted by defensive lineman Matthew Betts and returned it 70 yards for a touchdown. But the BC defensive unit was not done yet. On the very next Calgary drive, linebacker TJ Lee was wearing a Guardian cap, and he knocked down a backwards pass, scooped it up, and returned it for a 27-yard touchdown for British Columbia, giving them their second consecutive defensive touchdown of the night, and ultimately giving the Lions a 26-8 lead. Calgary backup quarterback Matthew Schultz then threw a 53-yard touchdown pass to Reggie Begelton, but BC won this game easily, 32-15. British Columbia quarterback Nathan Rourke completed 20 of 24 passes for 218 yards and no touchdowns. Running back William Stanbeck carried the ball 15 times for 50 yards, and wide receiver Keon Hatcher led the receivers with 4 catches for 97 yards. Kicker Sean White was 6 for 6 on field goals, the longest of which was from 47 yards. For Calgary, quarterback Jake Maier completed 19 of 27 passes for 164 yards, a touchdown, and a pair of interceptions. Backup quarterback Matthew Schultz completed 4 of 5 passes for 99 yards and a touchdown. Running back Peyton Logan carried the ball 15 times for 89 yards, and wide receiver Reggie Begelton had 4 catches for 73 yards and a touchdown. British Columbia has been up and down all year, much like my beloved Toronto Argonauts. They just snapped a 2-game losing streak. When they're on, they're on. When they're off, oh boy, God help them. So, what do you make of this team after snapping the streak?
Rourke didn't throw a touchdown pass, and they still won the game. So, they're doing pretty good. Who knows how far they'll go in the playoffs? But the game that they played this week, they're calling it the Gravy Bowl game. It was presented by British Columbia Turkey Company. And I guess this is an annual event. I'd never heard of this before, but I guess they played it last year, so this might be the second year for it. I'm not sure. They handed out turkey legs on the field after the game to several players, and they had a bunch of other Thanksgiving-themed events leading up to the game, pie eating contests, turkey carving contests, and that sort of thing. So it's not really Thanksgiving yet in Canada, but they did this kind of like a week early. Thanksgiving Day is Monday, October 14th up in Canada. So next weekend technically will be Thanksgiving weekend, but so they did this early in British Columbia because they're going to be in Saskatchewan next weekend on the road. So they wanted to get their Thanksgiving in before Thanksgiving weekend, I guess.
Gotcha. Well, cool tradition. Hey, if you guys watching this know a little bit more about the Gravy Bowl and want to fill us in, leave those down in the comments below. I mean, we'd gladly love to learn a little more about the Gravy Bowl.
And then on Saturday, it was the Saskatchewan Roughriders at the Edmonton Elks. In the second quarter, running back Javon Leake scored on a short touchdown run, giving Edmonton an 8-0 lead. But Saskatchewan answered with an 88-yard touchdown catch and run by Samuel Emilus. Edmonton added a 2-point conversion, and the score was tied 8-8. Edmonton regained the lead when Dylan Mitchell caught a touchdown pass, but Saskatchewan backup quarterback Shea Patterson scored on a 1-yard touchdown run to tie the game again at 15-15. In the third quarter, a touchdown pass to Edmonton's Eugene Lewis tied the game a third time, 21-21. But Saskatchewan wide receiver Keyshawn Johnson outjumped the defender to catch a touchdown pass, and Saskatchewan held on for a 28-24 victory, earning the Roughriders a playoff spot. Saskatchewan quarterback Trevor Harris completed 22 of 28 passes for 358 yards, 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Wide receiver Samuel Emilus had 4 catches for 126 yards and a touchdown, and wide receiver Keyshawn Johnson had 5 catches for 103 yards and a touchdown. For Edmonton, quarterback McLeod Bethel Thompson completed 33 of 41 passes for 379 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Running back Javon Leake carried the ball 9 times for 15 yards and a touchdown, and wide receiver Curly Gittens Jr. led the receivers with 10 catches for 122 yards. Yeah, not only did Saskatchewan earn a playoff spot in the West Division, they also eliminated Edmonton as a result of this game. And how about those 2 quarterbacks? I mean, Trevor Harris, 358 yards, and McLeod Bethel Thompson, 379 yards. Wow.
Yeah, if you were going to ask me which of these games was going to have the, best quarterback duel, I probably wouldn't have picked this one. But, hey, hats off to them. They played great. We always talk about, it's always a reoccurring thing on whenever we talk CFL. It's the quarterback with the best stats usually isn't the one that ends up winning the game, which is crazy to think sometimes. I know even in, NFL or other football leagues, it's not like that sometimes. But, I mean, more times often than not. CFL especially, don't put your money on it if you see a guy with a great stat line. But, no, look, congratulations to Saskatchewan. They're one of those other teams with like them, BC, Toronto. They've all been that middling kind of up and down every week kind of team. They got their playoff spot. They're locked in. I see you honoring them with your shirt this week. So Good for them. I'm a little bummed about the Elks not making it. I really thought for sure the Elks would be in. That early season stretch where they lost those consecutive games by just field goals, I think really set them back. I think they could have easily been a a playoff team had those games gone their way. But hey, it is what it is. You look forward to next year, and they got a lot to build on, especially with a young Trey Ford. And if McLeod Bethel Thompson decides to stay there, that'll be an interesting thing to keep an eye on too in the offseason.
And finally, there were 3 games on a bye this past weekend. The Montreal Alouettes.
3 teams?
Huh?
You said 3 games on a bye. I mean, I think you mean 3 teams on a bye.
You're right. 3 teams on bye this past week. Montreal Alouettes, Toronto Argonauts, and the Ottawa Redblacks, who actually clinched a playoff spot with the Hamilton loss. So there you go, Ottawa. Take a week off and earn a playoff spot. Congratulations. All right, let's look at the standings now after 18 weeks. In the East Division, it's the Montreal Alouettes with an 11-3-1 record, clinching the East Division. The Ottawa Redblacks with 8-6-1 as a record, clinching a playoff spot. And then they're followed by the Toronto Argonauts at 8-7 and the Hamilton Tiger Cats at 6-10. Over in the West Division, Winnipeg Blue Bombers are 10-6. They've clinched a home playoff game. Saskatchewan Roughriders at 8-7-1. They've clinched a playoff spot. And the BC Lions at 8-8 have clinched a playoff spot. The Edmonton Elks at 5-11 have been eliminated, as well as the Calgary Stampeders at 4-10-1. They've also been eliminated. Looking ahead to the Week 19 matchup, this is going to be your Thanksgiving Day weekend up there in Canada. On Friday, it's Toronto at Winnipeg. On Saturday, it's a doubleheader with Edmonton at Calgary and BC at Saskatchewan. And on Monday, in the Thanksgiving Day game, it's going to be Ottawa at Montreal. Hamilton has a bye this week. So with just 3 weeks left in the regular season, things are really coming down to the wire. 5 of the 6 playoff spots have been locked up. The last spot is going to go to either Toronto or Hamilton in the East Division. There's not going to be a crossover this year, and that's going to be a tight race. They're 2 games separated by 2 games, and like I said, if it comes down to a tie between those two, Hamilton has beaten Toronto 3 times this year, so look out. They're not out of it yet. Things can happen in the next 3 weeks, and also
they certainly can.
And this is the first time in 78 years since 1945 that a team from Alberta, that being Edmonton or Calgary, is not going to be in the playoffs. That's pretty amazing that one of those teams has been in the playoffs for the last 78 years, but not this year. They both got eliminated this past weekend.
And then also that means that Ottawa will be in the playoffs for the first time since 2018, and it'll be Saskatchewan's first appearance since 2021. So a lot of interesting stuff there. Toronto's got to be careful. We talking playoff spots. Hamilton, has been sneaky. With Hamilton on the bye this week, I think Toronto's just got to win, but they got a tough opponent this week. Playing Winnipeg. Winnipeg's trying to also lock up their division, so that ain't going to be an easy out. But we've seen Toronto play great games, and we've seen them play bad games. And which week is it going to be for them this week? We'll have to wait and see. So I don't know. It's exciting, to figure out as all this stuff, comes into focus. Like there's 1 playoff spot left. The Argos got to do what they can to keep winning. So we'll see what happens. It's gonna be exciting.
Go Toronto, man! I'm rooting for you. If they win, I'll be wearing a Toronto shirt next week.
Oh.
All right. That's all the time we've got for this week. Tune in again next week when Adam and I will review the week's games played in the Canadian Football League. We'll be doing this throughout the regular season, only 3 weeks left in that, and the postseason, as well as the 111th Grey Cup game in Vancouver in November, where we will be in attendance. Man, that's going to be fun. Remember, folks, some people love football more than we do, but nobody, and I mean nobody, loves more football. I'm all choked up. Love more football than Adam and I sitting here in Kalamazoo talking about football. Until next time, I'm Randy Snow.
And buy yourself some World of Football merch, everybody. Just go down below. Go down below. We got sweatshirts. We got hats. That's right. I'm shilling the heck out of this stuff. Go get it. Happy Thanksgiving weekend this weekend, Canada.
Yeah. Yeah, Toronto, don't eat too much turkey. That tryptophan's going to make you lazy in that game. You got to win. All right. We'll see you all next week, somewheres around the 55-yard line.